Welcome to On the Chain. This is Chip. We have a special ride for you tonight. I will be your pilot throughout the rest of the podcast. And what do we have coming up? Let's talk a little bit about XRP, the standard. We've been hearing this bantered around. Bitcoin's the standard, and this is the standard. You know what the standard is? XRP. We're going to jump into that too. Also, we're going to talk about why is XRP important? Somebody posed that question out there, and it was a Bitcoin maxi. And boy, there's some really great responses. Also, we're going to talk a little bit about Ripple opening up Toronto. That's right, Toronto. That's what we say at Toronto. Toronto. People not from the area will call it Toronto, but it's Toronto. And I grew up right across the other side of the lake in Niagara Falls, New York. We're going to talk about that. You guys ready to go? You guys ready? Can I hear something? I don't hear anything. That's not loud enough. You guys ready to go? Can I get a hell yeah? Let's go. Let's do it.
Welcome to On the Chain.
Yeah, and welcome to On the Chain. And here we are, guys, on a Sunday. We made it through the weekend. And if you're joining us from down under on the other side of the planet, then, well, you're already into your Monday. So, or if you're anywhere in between, you are somewhere in there. But I wanted to kick this puppy off with one thing, and you know what it is. Drop where you're from. If you're watching the replay of the podcast, drop the city, the country you're coming in. Want to shout some of you out. Would love to see where everybody's coming in from. Also, if it's your first time here, you want this kind of XRP blockchain-related content, simple enough. What do? You go ahead and you subscribe. That's it right there. Go ahead, you click that thumbs up, that subscribe, the notification bell. It's that easy. It is that easy. And, you know, that also helps the On the Chain show as well. So thank you. And thank you for the On the Chain family for being here this evening, this morning, this afternoon, wherever you're joining us from. And I want to start off in the chat. So there we go. Let's go. There goes Mighty Tone says, let's go. The Naked Golfer's thumbs up there. And then we've got, look at this. Mighty Tone is coming in from Canton, Texas. E for Rockins, the moon, the future. We got Panama in the house. George is from Panama. What else do we have here? Look at that right there. Canberra, Australia. I love our Aussie fans. Internet 589.0 coming soon. Hey, what's going on? Silly Lily says, hey, what's up on the chain? New Orleans. Is that the right way to say it? New Orleans. You don't say New Orleans. Say Nolans. That's how you do it. Yeah, man, says what fly. And then hello, we've got Hoddle the Auto coming in from the UK very late there, early morning there, and really love it. Here's some more Perth. We have Perth, Australia coming in here as well. So let's jump into this. We know all too well that Ripple opened up Toronto, and they're like, well, what do you open up in Toronto? It's pretty cool, right? So they opened up a hub, an office there. They also recently purchased a lot of office space. Where? That's right, on my turf and Jeff's turf here down here in Miami, which is going to be really great to see how that's going to go. And what else did they do? Well, they took a lot of new office space out in San Francisco. Doesn't sound like a company that's going anywhere, leaving the U.S. anytime soon, although they could just pop across the border and end up in Toronto. That's always the possibility. But I wanted to show this. Let's get this going right here. This is it. Team Ripple put this up on their website. Code Decode Challenge ignites Toronto engineers. And there was the engineering launch in Toronto. We were just talking about that. We're going to play this video in a little bit. The video is actually pretty cool. And again, if you know anything about, and again, I was fortunate enough to go to a Ripple house when it was in West Palm Beach here. And I have to tell you that Ripple knows how to put on a show. Everything is top notch, from the food to the drink to the atmosphere to the people. It's all first class, and this is no different. Fits right in line with that. So the kickoff event was held for the opening of Ripple's Toronto office back in June 23rd, specifically to draw on top engineering talent, building on existing university blockchain research initiative, which we know as the UBRI partnerships. With two universities in the office, give the engineers an opportunity to work on real-world problems using Ripple's crypto and blockchain solutions. Who else was there? Brad Garlinghouse, Ripple CEO, spoke to the audience. Like I said, we'll play the video in a bit, about expanding into Toronto, the excitement of the crypto industry, and his experience seeing the position of the technology shift from potential benefits to tangible solutions, which is what Ripple is all about. And then before introducing them to the real world challenges, Ripple hosted a challenge of their own and collaborated with Toronto artist Brian Espiritu for the visual design. And this was funny because I saw a lot of people talking about this when they were actually looking at this, trying to solve it, this whole cryptographic puzzle that they put out there. And attendees are invited to solve this cryptographic puzzle that evening using clues that were posted around the venue. Roman Akhtariev from Toronto was the first to finish the challenge, won a $5,000 Canadian fiat prize. And it didn't end there. An additional code decode challenge was later released online, had 72-hour experience. The winner, Gregory Cherkatov from Toronto, earned a $20,000 Canadian currency prize. First person to solve it. Challenge has since closed, but the impact on Toronto's engineering community remains and is growing still. So look at that. We got BC in the house right there. Love all our Aussie people. Yeah, Kelly. I don't know. Kelly's coming in from one of two places, maybe Costa Rica, potentially Florida, one of the two. So it's good to see everybody. Can I get a hell yeah? Hell yeah. Let's get a hell yeah there. And it isn't just around the decentralization of assets. Talent's becoming decentralized. That's a really good way to look at it. Talent is becoming decentralized. Only when we have a diverse culture can we actually involve products that are borderless, notes NJ Lee, Senior Engineering Manager of RippleX. It only makes sense that the global solutions company Ripple is fostering talent from around the world to further connect variety of insights, leadership, innovation to propel the industry forward. And let me get a little sip of water here. It's funny, I was outside all day. I was outside running around today, and man, it's getting to that point of where it's summer, full-fledged summer in South Florida. Damn, it's hot out there. I can tell you that. It's very, very hot. And I want to go ahead and I want to share this this Ripple video, and we'll throw it up there. It's pretty cool. It moves pretty fast, and hopefully you guys get the visual. And it's a little bit hard to hear sometimes what Brad's saying, but again, it's the whole visual and the experience. So hopefully you get to see what that's about. Let me see. Why isn't that? That's very strange. Let me see. There we go. Okay. I just wanted to make sure we pop it up here. Let me go full screen on this puppy. And guys, let me know if you don't hear it. For some reason, you should be able to hear it, but let me know if for some reason you don't. I'll go full screen here. And let's go. Here we go. Let's make sure the volume is pumped. Let's go.
There are amazing engineers everywhere, and certainly that's true here in Toronto. Toronto is a community we have been partnered with for quite some time, and we have seen the excellent engineering talent here, which is why we're opening our engineering hub here in Toronto. I think you probably all are aware we plan to hire 50 people this year with an intent of adding maybe 100 or 200 in the years ahead.
Ripple is developing a lot of financial solutions using cryptocurrency and token. So I'm interested in the company.
I'm really excited to see that Ripple is growing in Toronto. I've been trying to get into this space for a long time.
Our engineering teams aren't gigantic, but there's still enough people where we're able to work with in highly effective teams, and your ideas and contributions have a significant impact at scale. I've had opportunities within my team to contribute to multiple projects simultaneously, which is almost unheard of.
Ripple is still in a strong position to continue on further growth, and that is why we are opening up the Toronto office.
It isn't just about the decentralization of assets. Talent is becoming decentralized.
Only when we have a diverse culture can we actually evolve products that are borderless.
And there you go. Talent is borderless right there. So I like that. It was a really well crafted, put together, high energy piece, but it kind of gives us a little introspection into what was happening there at the opening. See Brad talking. You could see the excitement from engineers, coders that were in attendance that were super excited about, actually being there and enjoying the, hopefully they can try to get in there. And you heard that. Now, when we hear all of these other companies that are cutting back, what are we hearing? We're hearing trouble on the, with some of these, not only projects, but the DeFi space, crumbling. We've got Voyager in there now. It's just it's turned into a little bit of a mess. Obviously, we have a down market as well. But who's the one company in the space that's hiring? You heard Brad. He said, we're going to hire 50 initially. Look to put 100 to 200 in the coming years. And if you look at Ripple, there's a lot of recs out there for new talent, engineering, biz dev. I saw a biz dev job come in that's for Brazil. So you can see that that's interesting, that they're going to have somebody just specifically handling business development in Brazil. But this is kind of what gets everything going. And I just love the enthusiasm that Garlinghouse has. Does he seem worried? Does it seem like there's this big looming lawsuit? Does it seem like death warmed over? No. Optimistic, growing like crazy. And we don't even hear about the partnerships anymore, but there's a lot of stuff going on. So I have to say it's very incredible what they're doing in the background. So it's amazing. And then Organic FUD says, using a finite asset like XRP as a bridge currency is mathematically impossible. I don't know what he means by that, but it's not mathematically a finite asset. No, it's not mathematically impossible, because don't forget, just same way as Bitcoin, you can also get down to with the drops, you can get very, very granular with it. And there's 100 billion. So no, very easy. Hydroponics Allen says, good evening, Chip. Thank you for being here. Thank you for all your hard work, putting this great content. Appreciate you and Jeff very much. And we appreciate you guys very much. We really do. Jeff was here yesterday, early morning, and it is great because, man, it's a lot of fun for us to do this. And as much fun as it for us, hopefully it's some fun for you guys too. And you guys become part of the show. We like to throw stuff up there. Hans Loaded says, I think all schools should include coding in their curriculum from a young age. That is very well said. Absolutely, Hans. They should absolutely. The problem is that a lot of people misunderstand what coding is. They don't understand that what you can do, what you can build yourself. You had an idea. Hey, what if I did this? What if we could do that? Well, coding is the way to get you there. Problem is the way it's positioned in schools. And I know this with my own daughter. She's like, well, what do you ever think about coding? No, it seems like a lot of math. Well, math is like your best subject, right? No, I don't know if I want to do that. So you see that her perception is that it's all math based. Yeah, there's math in there, but the whole idea of teaching kids to be able to be builders, to be able to write code that can achieve something, they can do something even on a simpler side, and learning different languages and understand the underlying principles of writing code, whether it's back end or front end. But they don't really do a good job because we're still teaching like it was the 1700s. Same way. Not much is different. Some things change over the years, but a lot of it's very similar. Yeah, you used to have a chalkboard. Now you have a dry erase board. And you used to have a TV, and now you have more interactive. But it's not like you can get a kid engaged for 6 to 10 hours a day with the same one directional sort of. And that's where Montessori came in. Montessori was very, our oldest did Montessori, and it was great because I really feel like it framed the mind. Spend the time when you're young, what you like, what you want to focus on, and you draw that out of the child, and you do that at an early age. And if they were to incorporate coding in there, man, I can't even imagine what would happen. Let's get into this next article right here. This one here, another one, not more positive stuff coming out, like what the press has been writing lately. This one we have here, Ripple. Hang on, I'll get the right button here. So Ripple may benefit from new Supreme Court make up an XRP lawsuit. And we touched a little bit on this yesterday. Jeff and I have touched on this quite often. The major questions doctrine holds that courts generally should not defer agency statutory interpretations that concern questions of vast economic or political significance. And it talks about one of the key influencers in the XRP community being John Deaton, sorry, a little slip there. Major questions doctrine weakens SEC statutory interpretations. So John Deaton, who has a Twitter following of more than 200,000 users, which is incredible, has recently referred an attorney influencer, James Filan, to remind the public that one should be thinking about the bigger picture when looking at the precedent-setting case that is the SEC v. Ripple. Deaton wrote the tweet in context of the recent Supreme Court ruling restricting the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, is what we were talking about, this whole week, the EPA, power to regulate carbon emissions. The current makeup of the Supreme Court of the U.S. also recently overturned Roe v. Wade, which is more prone to weaken the power of government agencies. This could be a threat to the SEC as the financial watchdog continues regulation by enforcement practice. In case of an appeal, the current environment in the United States may be favorable to the defendants. And let's throw this tweet up right here. There it is. And this one I want to jump into just because this is something that Jimmy Fallon put up real early. Let's see, where's the second part of there? Where is it? I don't see where the second part of that tweet is. One of two. Basically writes, so Jimmy Fallon writes, when it comes to the SEC v. Ripple and all the different federal agencies trying to regulate crypto, start thinking about the bigger picture like Chevron deference, the major questions, doctrine, and our new Supreme Court makeup. Now this, when did he put this out? December 29th in 2020. Now think about that. Think about what he's already projecting. This is nearly a year and a half ago to be safe. But this is just a couple days after the SEC drops this big case. And what he's saying to everybody is like, listen, let's think about the bigger picture here. And then the new Supreme Court makeup. And that new Supreme Court makeup came to fruition the way Jimmy was talking about that. And so if we go back to John Deaton's tweet, John Deaton says, here's a great example of why I often ask my friend Jimmy Fallon what he thinks. Check out the date of the tweet. Jimmy was talking about the major questions and doctrine of our new Supreme Court makeup long before the EPA decision came out just 2 weeks, a week and a half ago. So this is pretty incredible. This is the second one here. Let me pull this one up here. And number two part of that tweet was the major question doctrines hold the way the major questions doctrine holds that courts generally should not defer to agency statutory interpretations that concern questions of vast economical or political significance. Why should one agency get to decide questions of vast economic or political significance? So when we start talking about this and we start looking at someone like Jimmy Fallon, this is who these guys are. Yeah, we have John Deaton, we have Jimmy Fallon, we have Jeremy Hogan, and there's a few other attorneys in that mix too. These are professionals. These are people who have amazing opinions. And Jimmy Fallon putting this out when a lot of us in the community didn't even know who he was yet until he started dropping all the court docs. And then all of a sudden he blew up as well. But he's making it a great point here. Why would you put all the power in one agency that's going to go ahead and decide this massive, game-changing, as he puts it, a vast economic or political significance? You simply wouldn't. And that's exactly what he's talking about here. And the two slapdowns, and again, I mean, not to get so in a political thing, but the Roe v. Wade thing, the reason that had to be tossed back to the states, only because there was nothing in the Constitution or there's no laws on the books. And that part, you know, we've got three parts of our government. You've got the legislative branch, that's Congress, that makes the laws. You've got the executive branch, which is the president, that signs the laws. And then you've got the judicial. The judicial actually goes ahead and interprets the law. If there's nothing to interpret, you can fall back on the Constitution. If there's nothing in the Constitution, you have to kick it back and make it a states' rights issue and let the states decide on it. However, all along in the 49, 50 years that ruling came down, very simply could have been codified by just going ahead and passing legislation. Now we've heard both sides. Well, the one side said, well, we just thought that's the way it was. Like there was not going to change. There wasn't going to be anything odd about that. Okay, great. But it was an opinion of the court. And this is where I bring this one another step further. So if that's the case, why is the SEC making stuff up that doesn't exist either in the Constitution or its law, right? In the way that Congress writes these laws, very vague, open to interpretation. Why don't they get a little bit more serious about defining it? Now, we've seen a lot of bills come out. Senator Cynthia Lummis, the latest one to come out, but we've had Tom Emmerich come out with one, Warren Davidson going back 3.5 years ago. There has to be the political will in Washington to be able to take this on. Now, everything, forget about it. All bets are off. We are coming up on election season. There's going to be an election, what they famously term the midterms, because it's always the midterm of the president. That's why they're called the midterms. It's during the president's midterm, and almost historically, with a few exceptions, whoever is in the White House, it flips the other way. Now, it hasn't always happened that way, but you're probably going to see that. And then we're going to see a lot of goodwill. Then we're going to see some real hearings. We're going to see exactly what kind of hearings are going to go on. That's going to be a whole different thing. What's up, G? Let's see you in here. And I want to go ahead and throw this one up here as well. Ripple lawsuit makes XRP the most important altcoin, says lawyer. Just like a vague headline. It's like, oh, let me click on that and see what's going on there. What does that mean? Considering Congress is not going to provide regulatory clarity, the ruling by Judge Torres in the Southern District in New York will decide whether the SEC has jurisdiction over the existing altcoins that have traded for years. Fastmed founder Jason Williams, known as Parabolic Guy, triggered a discussion on Twitter over the role of XRP in the digital space. And I do have that. Let me see where that puppy is. Let me look at this. Let me look. I wanted to make sure I had that up here. Holy cow, I'm looking for it, guys. Usually I have it sitting right next there. There it is right there. He triggered the entire space, but there it is right there. Fastmed founder Jason Williams. I want to throw the tweet up here before we go ahead and let's do this right here. There it is right there. And it was very simple. It's like, why is XRP important? And he put up a bunch of other tweets like, why is this important? Why is this important? You know, you're going to get some decent engagement on this. And so why is it important? The entrepreneur is also a Bitcoin investor with multiple investment exits in excess of $500 million and is the founding partner of Morgan Creek Digital Assets. The Bitcoin maximalist asked, why is XRP important? And so I wanted to get into this. And XRP holders attorney John Deaton, who pointed out the SEC v. Ripple case can make it or break it for the crypto asset industry. The court will decide whether the SEC has jurisdiction over the altcoins, and the SEC's argument regarding XRP makes XRP by far the most important altcoin in crypto. The SEC is alleging that today's XRP, the token itself, is a security, including secondary market sales, independent of Ripple, is what Deaton's tweet was, which I'll throw up here so we can kind of glance on that right there. And he basically was answering that. And it's true, because the answer to Jason's question, it's a very simple and easy one. The SEC's argument regarding the XRP makes XRP the most important altcoin in crypto, but otherwise, the SEC is alleging today's XRP, the token itself, is a security. And they're even talking about all of the secondary market, totally independent of Ripple, which is absolutely kind of crazy and insane, considering Congress is not going to provide regulatory clarity, especially in the election year, as I mentioned. The ruling by Judge Torres in the Southern District of New York will decide whether the SEC has jurisdiction over the existing altcoins that have been traded for years. SEC is not only alleging the way Ripple offers and sales of XRP are illegal, but all of XRP are unregistered security, which is hilarious to me. I mean, it's kind of a stretch. They could have just been like, well, yeah, we think that there's certain sales. It could have been, you might allege that, but I know they're all secondary market, doesn't matter. All of them unregistered securities. Since the beginning of the lawsuit, I'm not going to get into all this. Let's see, there's some other stuff here. What if it's deemed a security? Blah, 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 blah. Just getting into this, I wanted to throw this up here. Go. Thank you for that, K HUD. Appreciate that. They need to gather. They need to gather all they can. They need to gather all they can. There you go. All they can. Every bit of it. Every single bit of it. And what I was going to say was when you put something up there, why is XRP important? Well, I'll tell you why it's important now. Yeah, it's always been an important altcoin. And I hate that term altcoin because you're basically acknowledging that there's one coin, that's Bitcoin, and the other ones are all alternate or the altcoins. And yeah, could be. But the reason it's the most important one right now is because there's a lot weighing on the decision of this case. And I've said before that if the SEC had this really strong case, you have your opponent. I don't care what game you're playing. When you have your opponent against the ropes, you go for it. You destroy them, right? You win. Not the SEC. No, it's like all very timid. Oh, we can't release that. Wait, those documents? I don't know anything about documents. What documents? I don't know anything. I'm not turning over any documents. So it is rather funny to me that there's kind of a stall tactic that's going on here, where they're just taking as much time as they possibly can. And when are they going to actually get around to it? That's about anybody's guess when they're going to actually play ball. But here's the good news for all of us, especially if you are an investor in XRP. That's us. We are closer to the end of this than we were. We're well past the halfway point. So we're looking at November, December. Realistically, we've heard from Jeremy Hogan and John Deaton thinking that it's probably the decision is going to come down early 2023, anywhere between probably closer to March, but anything can change. And of course, we'll have to wait and see exactly what happens with the turnover of these the Hinman emails. Exactly what was in those emails? Did they actually mention that maybe XRP not a secure? Were they like going through the potential altcoins that were not securities, and they settled on, let's just talk about Ethereum, let's talk about Bitcoin? I don't know. It's difficult to understand 100%. But Stefan Huber Justice here, who is another brilliant mind in the space. Today is the 72nd day that Judge Netburn is working on her latest appeal proof order, and the 475th day since the SEC refused to hand over the documents for the first time. Think about that. The 475th day. That is some crazy talk right there, right? What else is July 10th? July 10th is also Tesla's birthday. Of course, there's a little bit of, I guess he was born like at midnight in a lightning storm, so they're not sure if it's 100% he was actually born on the 10th, although if you look it up, some will say the 10th, some will say the 11th, but Tesla was extraordinary, and you can imagine that someone like that would probably be born somewhere in the middle of, I guess, somewhere between the 10th and the 11th. Who knows when he actually made the appearance? I don't know. I wasn't there. I have no idea how that actually unfold. I don't know how to say that. How that happened? Who knows how that happened? And let's go to this other tweet right here. I wanted to jump into this. So Binance put this article out right here. Binance put this article out. Remittance is the transfer of money to a third party. In this case, the transfer of money between individuals that live in different countries. Read the blog to learn how blockchain plays a role in remittance. Okay, so let's play along. This is at the Academy over there. This is the academy.binance.com. Sure, let's play along. Let's see what we have here. So blockchain use cases, a beginner article right here, and here's the introduction, blah, 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 blah. The problem, the World Bank estimates, talks about the remittance problem. Is blockchain the solution? Holy cow, this is a long article. Anyway, wowza. Okay, there it is. So if we don't need to read the whole thing, but Matt Hamilton chimed in and said, so you write an entire article on crypto and remittances and fail to mention XRP, the crypto that is most well known for its use by Ripple and remittances and used by some of the example companies, e.g. coins.ph, that you mentioned. So they mention coins.ph, but they do not mention XRP. What is going on? Of course, you always have your detractors coming in, and this is somebody I just think will come in and fire up Matt Hamilton, who gets the award, the on the chain award for the biggest FUD buster out there, because he destroys with laser focus, because he brings the knowledge, he brings the receipts. So Krillin over here jumps in and says Ripple is mostly known for dumping on bag holders. False. I'm sorry you didn't have an alt season this cycle, bro. Maybe one day it'll come. Right? And then he says, but they don't. Alt season, what are you on about? So, Sam says, oh, don't worry, he's just trolling you. He says, I'm not. It must be hard to see that every crap coin pulling an X30, X500 during alt season while your S coin stays flat. And he's basically saying it should have been not X30, it should have been a 30X or a 500X. Now, who out there is getting 500X on their coins? Okay, 30X is pretty spectacular. 50X is pretty spectacular. 100X. Who's getting 500X in an alt season? I mean, really? I mean, I don't know anybody that is anyway. And that was due to the overreach, claiming the token itself was not a security, not due to Ripple. And then let's be honest. Do you believe XRP will ever hit 10K? This is XRP Whale. And then this is fantastic right here. So Ben Armstrong puts up a John Deaton tweet. He says, the scariest short story in the history of crypto. And Gigi says, tell me one thing that Bitcoin doesn't fix. And of course, Deaton says, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. And of course, BitBoy Crypto Ben Armstrong says, yeah, the scariest short story in the history of crypto. So, and it's so funny because look at John's face right there. It's almost like he's like, mic drop. Oh, he's like, just dropped the mic right there. It's fantastic. There was another one in here somewhere. I guess I'll find it. Sometimes with all of these, man, there's so many of these. Wowza. Too many of them. Too many to get into. But anyway, let's moving right along. Jungle Link had this observation. He said, would it have been okay if Jay Clayton, the ex-chair of the SEC, voted to sue Apple and then within 24 hours headed to a firm with a $1 billion investment in Amazon and Google competitors? And if Hinman was getting paid directly $15 million from the Google attorney, why is this okay with crypto? And he tags Hester Person there along with Gary Gensler. And he's making a really good point here. If you know, this is exactly a fantastic point because this is exactly what happened. You basically had Jay Clayton going over to One River, and you had Hinman going over and joining his other law firm. Now, his other law firm was paying him $15 million, which was also in bed with the Ethereum. Not the foundation. Yeah, I think Ethereum Foundation, whatever they call that over there. I don't remember what it's called. So how is this okay? And then you had Hinman who said, no, this is retirement benefits. I'm sorry. I'm not a scientist here, but usually you get retirement benefits after you retire. You don't usually get retirement benefits when you're currently holding a role. Now, he could have said he had retired from Simpson, his old law firm, but he went back to go work for them, right? And they're representing competitors. You have the JPM coin, you have everything else. So he jumps ship. It looks there's a lot of impropriety, I mean a little, but there's a lot of impropriety going on there. That just doesn't pass the sniff test. Not cool. So I love that observation. Very well done. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, I wanted to get in this story here too. This kind of came up yesterday, but in the U.S., U.S. residents can now buy Ripple XRP series can now buy XRP using a credit card. You have to correct these guys all the time. They still don't get it. It's frustrating. I know the association, but it's not Ripple. U.S. residents can now buy XRP using credit card and ApplePay. Whoa, did someone say Apple? Hello, Apple. Leading decentralized exchange based on the XRP ledger, on XRP. And I'm loving on XRP, by the way. I love what they're up to. They're doing some great things in the space, and I got some good people over. And we have to get them on the chain over here. According to an announcement made by the trading platform, people residing in the U.S. and various parts of the world can now purchase XRP using their credit cards and Apple Pay. And I got to tell you, man, if you have an iPhone, you have Apple Pay, it's just too easy to buy things. It's almost scary how fast you can buy things. And if you're using Google, what is it called? Google Pay. Yeah, if you're using Google Pay, yeah, you just load up any credit card you want inside of your Apple Pay, and then you can flip through your wallet, grab the one you want, and whether it's a face or a thumb, you just say buy. It already has all your details on there. You don't have to fill out a form. You don't have to do anything. Just click buy. You buy. You put your biometrics, whether it's a face scan or a thumbprint or whatever it is, whichever iPhone you have. Same with Google Pay. I don't know if you can use Google Pay at this, but the whole point of it is that you can purchase it super easy. And I have that queued up here as well, which I'll jump into here. But there's their decentralized exchange right here, and they also have a there's the decentralized exchange right there. Bridge, DeFi Cash, very, very well done. Simple. You can buy, you can sell. Very simple, very easy to use. And let's jump back into the article here. Initiative will enable U.S. residents, except those living in New York and Hawaii. Wah, wah, wah. Why is it? What's going on? All you have to say is New York and Hawaii are horrible, right? The leadership there is horrible. Everything going on there is horrible. That's why people are leaving in droves. That's why the people are leaving Hawaii for the mainland. That's why they're coming down here to Florida. All the New Yorkers are coming here. We have a lot of New York plates down here, more than I've ever seen. And I know there were always snowbirds. The snowbirds are the ones that come down for the winter. But I'm a little bit wondering what's going on. There's a lot of license plates down here. And the driving's gotten crazier and nuttier, which tells me there's a lot of New Yorkers down here. So we present to you our fiat on-ramp powered by Banksaw Official. They can be found under the cash in our DEX directly at, and then they show you where it is, and that's what we just looked at. The centralized exchange noted that while the service is currently not supported in Canada, it's exciting to offer residents in multiple U.S. states the ability to buy XRP. So again, if you are in the U.S., there was on hold. There's a couple other ones. On hold. I'm sorry, Uphold. What am I saying? Uphold and BitTrue, and there's a few other ones, but pure U.S. exchanges. Now you have on XRP, decentralized exchange, and that's all. That's very, very good news for everybody. Let's see what's going on here in the chat. I like to see what's going on, what people are saying. There you go, right there. Well, that's it's interesting. That something to be said about it. There's something there. Yeah, there are Dems at the helm there, but Al Heffy says Michigan chip. Don't worry, my political views fit Florida. Good. UK. How many millionaires do New York have versus Florida? Nobody gets rich in Florida. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Next, let's go on to the next story here. Jed. How about Jed McCaleb? Right. He's finally getting down to his last. This comes to us from Leonidas. He says, Jed will be selling his 4.21 million XRP per day this week. His 22.1 million XRP will run out on Saturday, the 16th of July. So we got a couple days on the countdown. A lot of people have been giving a lot of flack saying, well, all he's doing is dumping all of his XRP. He just keeps dumping it. Well, yeah, he's dumping it because it's per the agreement that he has in place with Ripple. He couldn't just dump it all in one fell swoop. He had to space it out. Took Jed 8 years, 1 month, 25 days before announcing his sales to finally get rid of his $9 billion XRP. Can you imagine having 9 billion XRP? Best of luck to Jed. And there it is right there. So you can go over there. There's his taco stand wall. You can see it over there on BitHump. Binthump. I don't even know how you say that. Who knows how you say that? Somebody knows. I don't know. And what else do we have here? Oh, John Deaton put this tweet out. He said, "Hey, I predict," and this was Bill. So Bill said was commenting on another tweet thread. See, I really enjoyed your thread on the Chapter 11 bankruptcy process. It wasn't John Deaton's tweet thread, and it's the application to Voyager. It can still end up in insolvency, though, if no restructure plan is voted for and approved by the court. And then John Deaton said, I predict that FTX will outright purchase Voyager out of bankruptcy. In June, he gave them a credit line of $475 million, allowing them to draw down a max of $75 million within 30 days. And they did. That made SBF the #1 creditor. And if you guys know how bankruptcy works, you always want to be in first position. Depositors will likely get some of their money back, not money, but crypto back with equity. So this is why you want to be in first position. So I like that a lot too. Very cool, very cool. Let's see, what else do we have here as we wind down? Okay. There's two other things here that I wanted to get to. And it's funny because David Schwartz put this tweet out. And we know David Schwartz is an Android user who everyone knows that I'm an iOS iPhone user. He uses Android. I use iPhone. He put this tweet up there. I thought this was interesting. And, sometimes you have to voice frustration. And the best place to go for that sometimes, Twitter. The worst place to go sometimes for that, Twitter. You're going to get everybody chiming in. But he put up there, for the love of all that is holy, will this silly myth please die? Charging to full charge minimizes the current you draw from the battery, maximizing its cycle life. And he's commenting on this article by SlashGear, why you need to stop charging your Android phone to 100%. And he's frustrated about it and says, well, charging to full charge minimizes the current you draw from the battery, maximizing its life cycle. So he's clearly frustrated. I chimed in over here and said, well, with iOS 13 and later, your iPhone learns from your daily charging habits to improve the lifespan of your battery. Optimized battery and charging is designed to reduce the wear on your battery and improve its lifespan by reducing the time your iPhone charges. So I put that up there, and I put some docs on there that you could go read, and didn't expect anything of it. And David Schwartz came back and said, very cool. It's almost always best to give the device as many options as possible and let it make the decision that the experts who designed it think best. And I was very pleased with that. And this is something cool about David Schwartz, is that being a tech guy, he really understands that, it's best to leave it up to the people who actually wrote the tech, and especially the way Apple has an algorithm. And I was going to even put actually, there's a little, let me show you this right here. If you guys are an Android, of course, I always love an opportunity to talk about this, but it's funny because I almost didn't even know what this was when I started seeing it show up, but it looks a little bit like this. Your phone, it says scheduled to finish charging by 10 a.m. You're like, what the hell does that mean? I mean, it's like, it's bedtime here. It's like 11 o'clock at night. Why is it going to? So what it does is it learns your habits. It learns when you usually go to sleep, and it learns when you usually wake. And then it has an algorithm on how to charge your battery, which is pretty cool. And you just basically set that up. So anyway, I thought that was a pretty cool thing. I don't want to get too much in the weeds in that, but that was a fun little interaction with David Schwartz there. And I wanted to get to this last article here. This was interesting. Wall Street Silver put this out, and JPMorgan's big hitters of gold market face trial over spoofing. This is getting virtually not talked about anywhere. Three face prison if convicted for rigging prices for years. For years, they were rigging prices. Where was the SEC? Nowhere to be found. JPMorgan dominates precious metals. The U.S. says we're manipulated. Come on, seriously? And it says, Wall Street Silver says, an important criminal trial to keep your eye on. JPMorgan traders on trial for manipulating the market. Incredible. And then this was a great article, which we don't have time to read. I will drop it in there if you guys want to read it, but this is a really solid article, well written. It talks about the abject corruption. Be sure to read this free public post. Very well done. I don't know why the video won't play, or maybe it's a country type thing. But anyway, I recommend you guys read this because it goes into this in a little bit of detail. But this is exactly where we are. The SEC protecting investors in gold. Meanwhile, they're manipulating the market for years. Same go back to Bernie Madoff. We had a whistleblower for 7-8 years blowing the whistle. Nothing. But then they want to go after, they want to take to Jimmy Filan's point, this massive, vast inflection on the entire world that's going to potentially happen. They want to take the decision. Sorry, it's not written anywhere, and you guys are gonna have a good luck with that, getting that piece done. Anyway, that's all the time I have with you guys tonight. I want to thank everybody for coming in here, and if you guys want more content like this, all you have to do is very simple. Go ahead and click that subscribe, and click that notification bell. And like I always say, is that really does help out quite a bit, because it tunes the algorithm and it tells YouTube, it says, I like this video. And what'll happen is, based on the videos you watch, it'll show people that watch those videos and say, well, if you like this video and you watch these videos, then maybe these other people. And that's why you always hear YouTubers out there saying it really helps the channel, because it introduces it to a new audience or someone that likes a similar type of content. but may not know about it. So that's one of the reasons you're always hearing us drone on about it, like click the like. It's not like there's a reason behind it, really, because it expands the reach of the channel. Very, very simply put. That's all I have with you guys tonight. We will be back on Wednesday night and with some more topics. It's going to be an interesting week. Let's see what unfolds this week. Let's see what news stories we have. You guys have a great, safe week. I'm Chip. This is On the Chain, and I am on here. Chip, oh!
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.